Now this is almost 7 pounds of solid silver in 10-ounce mint bars. Now we just made a huge purchase and purchased a whole mess of coins, gold, silver, and stamps. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to talk about buying silver and things along that line. Now, I do buy silver. I buy gold as well when I can get it. Here's a whole bunch, almost 7 pounds worth of solid silver. These are 10-ounce bars. I've got 11 of them here, and they're actually 0.999 silver. Now, we invested 70% of what these go for. 70% of the value on these bars is what we spent to get them. They're regular official bars, nothing super spectacular about them. They're sealed, they're made by the mint in Canada, they're all individually numbered. Now these come from a mint, and those are the ones I almost always exclusively look for and swap up when I can grab them, because these are like rocket science to be able to tell if they're real or not. The weight's got to be exactly right, and the size has got to be exactly right as well. You can even double check the numbers to make sure they don't show up somewhere else as well. These are all legit. I tested them, I know for sure. And stuff like this, we pay 70% of what the current market value is. If they don't want to sell it for that, they can take it down there and do whatever they want and sell it themselves. This is from a family who actually was liquidating estate, somebody who I've actually had some dealings with in the past. So it was a pretty easy decision to go out and check these out. Now we invested a ton of money into these as well as the stamps and stuff. These aren't the good part. The stamps were actually the best part. Gold was pretty good too because gold value is pretty high right now, as are these. Now these go for usually more than actually the current value of scrap because they're bars. People like bars. They'll pay a little bit of premium for bars, at least that's my personal experience. These are worth at least $300 a pop. So there's over $3,000 right here, $3,300 or better right here. Now, I'm not a speculator, so these will be gone this week without any doubt. Take the profit and be happy with it. They can go up, they can go down, who knows. But at this point, it's a big chunk of profit coming back if I sell them, even at just the 70% mark right there. So that's what we're gonna do. Now I know some folks are gonna say, I'm ripping people off paying 70% of the value. But that's what you do when you go to a shop, when you go to a store. I've got a place I always take stuff like this, Estate Jewelers here in town. I actually have a video showing the place. I've been in there, I've done a video with the prior owner. Ed, the owner, has since passed, very excellent guy. The son and the family still run it, so nice people, great place to go to, but anyway, I'm going to sell it off. If they didn't want to take the 70% on what it was, the 70% of market value, as I said, they could have taken it in themselves. Now, I looked up the price, the current price of silver in front of them. And again, I told them my offer, they could take it or leave it. I know it's not stolen, it's not hot goods or anything like that. I know exactly where it came from. I know the person who actually had it, and I'm buying it from their estate. So, you know, there's no question on that aspect of it. Gold and silver are easy to turn around and sell. Never pay what the spot price is, what the current value is, in case the price goes down before you can sell it. There's a ton of money to be made in stuff like this though. So if you're wise, you're smart, you pay attention, you can do extremely well. It shows up. One thing I would say though, the majority of what I've run into, even from other antique dealers and stuff, a large chunk of it turns out to be fake. Even slabbed coins these days are faked all the time. They're coming over from China and all kinds of other places overseas, and they'll look like the real legit deal with the hologram and the whole works on the encased coins, but they're fake. Now, as I said, there's some easy ways to tell on most things if they're legit. Most of the ones like a gold bar, for example, a lot of the ones that are fake, they might just be coated with gold. They have something else inside because gold weighs a specific set amount. It's hard to get the exact amount using other metals or a coating of gold on the outside and then filling it with, say, lead on the inside. We've run into silver bars in the past. I've had people send them to me, actually, that have lead on the inside. They've hollowed out a bar and basically recouped, 9.5 ounces or 9 ounces worth of the silver out of the bar and then refilled it with lead. Doesn't weigh the same. Doesn't weigh the same because it's not the same material. So weight is the number one thing that I look for, and size of every item out there. These are legit. These are from the mint. So I have no question about what's going on with these. These are legit. It has all the signs, the marks, the weight, the size. It's exact. Every single one of these, if I put it on a scale, micrometer, whatever, every single aspect of these are exact in every aspect. The weight's right. A laser metal tester tells you it's solid all the way through in the whole works. It's all one metal in the whole works. So these are legit and easy to actually find. This is something, though, if you're not up on this, you're not familiar with silver, gold, and things like that, buying them or using an acid test kit, you better study up on it before you start investing money into this. I know somebody who had been buying off of eBay slabbed coins and silver bars and all sorts of things off of eBay from dealers when the price was right. And it turns out like 65% of what he bought was fake. And a lot of it he just set aside and didn't think about it, but when he needed the money, he went to turn it in, cash it out, and he found that out at that point. Those are some of the bars that actually I've seen that, we've cut them in half, looked inside, you can easily tell it's not silver on the inside. So again, this is something that if you're not familiar, you're not up on, you don't want to be spending $3,000 or $4,000 on silver and getting screwed on it, because that's happened a lot lately. Fake gold, fake silver, fake markings on coins. There's duplicate bars that look incredible. I have a friend who purchased a whole bunch of Morgan and Peace silver dollars, thinking, oh, we're all good to go. He got home, started looking at them, checking the size, the weights. And then he ended up drilling one of them to find out that, yes, indeed, they were all altered, fake. I don't know what the case would be in these. I don't know if they were real on the outside and then hollowed out, or they were just fake around with a shell of silver on the outside. But you've got to be extremely cautious, extremely careful these days. If you mess around, there's a coin shop in town near the State Jewelers, the pawn shop that I do most of my gold and silver selling to. And if you go to places like that, they see it all the time. Most places around run into things that aren't real. Pawn shops are very often finding that some of this stuff being brought in, and again, they can't accuse the person of bringing it in as saying it's fake. It could have been inheritance. It could have been anything. But there's a lot of it out there. So again, caution and due diligence is what you need to do if you're messing in stuff like this. Gold is even more important to make sure you get it right, and that's where it comes down to a test kit, acid test kit. Better yet than the acid test is a metallurgic gun that actually can tell you the composition of it. Just has to touch the bare metal, so you still may have to scratch it, but it's very accurate, at least the ones that I have used and seen. So again, this is a huge area. There's a lot of money to be made. Right now, I won't have any trouble selling this at all. People are buying up silver. No one knows about the economy, what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. So people are buying up and hoarding silver. So a perfect time for me to just go ahead and flip it out. Now, a lot of people would speculate, hold on to it. Silver carries a value pretty much all the time, but I remember the days when silver was selling for $6 an ounce. I've seen it where it was $40 an ounce. And again, I don't want to wait. I don't want to hold on to something. I bought this as a business. I bought it to make a profit and not hold on to it for 10 years or hope it goes up even farther to make it. We've made a little money. It's actually up a hair since we purchased it. So, we're going to be making, 34%. Now, if I only bought one or two, it'd be a different story. I might hang on to those for a little while just for speculation. But when you sink a few $1,000s into something, you don't want to hang on to it and find out the price drops or market crash or whatever the case may be. As a business, my goal is to turn over the product, make the money, and then off we go and on to something else. That's the whole goal of reselling in general. These are awesome items in my opinion. I love silver and gold. I love coins. I love stamps, all in my wheelhouse. All things we've been messing with for years and years and years and years. So this is just a perfect example of paying attention, watching the markets, not overpaying. Now, biggest thing I would say on these, considering when you're going to purchase them, is what the value is of silver then. That could change before you take it in to sell it or whatever the case may be. With these two, I would never list a bar on eBay. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it because you're going to pay eBay a fee on these, and there's could get lost in the mail mysteriously, or they could claim you faked it out, or whatever the case may be. I only do business with selling these locally, in person, in a legitimate establishment. I don't sell them, you know, at flea markets or anything like that because I don't want any issues. I go from purchasing it to that business, and pretty much most of the time within a day or two, we've sold it. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush any day of the week. So, you know, I know there's a lot of people who will say, well, you should hang on to it. Silver's going to go up, whatever the case may be. Again, separate yourself from the business. If I'm buying it for my own self, I may speculate or keep it in, you know, my possession for much longer. With this purchase as well, some of the coins and the postage stamp albums alone will go for way more than this. The sound of these two, you can usually tell by the sound of them that they're solid. They're all one type of metal and the whole works. Again, I love silver, so it's always fun to run into it. It's fun to have it around, but it's a heck of a lot more enjoyable to make the profit, sell it, and be done with it. But anyway, that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gives you some ideas, some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.